There are growing calls to strip Harry and Meghan of their royal titles. The New York Post is reporting that locals in the UK say enough is enough, especially after Prince Harry's disastrous BBC interview, which aired hours after he lost his appeal for taxpayer-funded UK.
I knew something was brewing the moment whispers started echoing through Westminster. At first, it felt like just another headline, one more bump in the long, messy saga of Prince Harry versus the Crown. But then came the petition, not some viral outrage on Twitter, not a celebrity protest, a formal motion inside the House of Lords, a direct strike from the very heart of Britain's political elite. This time, it's not just about scandal or reputation. It's about stripping Harry of the one thing he still clings to, his royal title. And if you think this is just symbolic, think again. This is about legacy. This is about power. This is about whether someone who's chosen to burn every bridge behind him still gets to wear the badge of the very institution he abandoned. It's not a family dispute anymore. It's a constitutional reckoning. Now, the country that once adored him, the boy who walked behind his mother's coffin, the prince who served in Afghanistan, is watching him get dismantled piece by piece. Not by palace aides or tabloid editors, but by Parliament itself. What started as a royal departure has spiraled into a full-blown crisis of identity, duty, and loyalty. And the stakes, they couldn't be higher. Because if this petition goes through, Harry won't just lose a title, he'll lose the last thread connecting him to the monarchy that made him. So buckle up, because what we're about to unpack isn't just royal drama, it's history in the making, and it's getting brutal, fast. Man, when I first heard this, I had to double check to make sure it wasn't some sensational tabloid headline. But no, this is real. The British House of Lords, the literal backbone of royal tradition and political formality, has launched a formal petition to strip Prince Harry of his Duke of Sussex title. Not just some social media campaign or angry public rant. This is a full-blown institutional move. And it's coming from the top. Conservative peers, seasoned crossbenchers, lawmakers who don't just dabble in drama, they shape history. What blew me away is how serious this is. It's not symbolic, it's not a stunt. These are the same halls that have dealt with royal crises for centuries, and now they're targeting Harry like he's a rogue agent of the crown. There's fury in the air, but also precision, like a chess move that's been waiting in the shadows for just the right moment. And here's the twist. Harry is reportedly seething, not annoyed, not defensive, absolutely livid, because if there's one thing he's clung to since ditching royal duties and jetting off to California, it's that title. Duke of Sussex gives him weight in boardrooms, media, and Hollywood. Take that away, you strip the very essence of what ties him to royalty. This isn't just a slap on the wrist. This is the first domino in what could be the total dismantling of Harry's royal identity. And watching Parliament gear up like this, it feels like the establishment is finally ready to shut the door on the prodigal prince for good.
We'll see King Charles do this because he's not confrontational. I don't think that he likes the fact that he's been accused of racism towards his grandchildren in Omid Scobie's book. So I think he's going to continue to tiptoe around
This isn't just one chamber's crusade. It's becoming a national reckoning. The petition exploded with tens of thousands of public signatures within days. People from every corner of the UK, from Sussex to Scotland, are adding their names to what now feels like a movement. And the Parliament, they're not just watching, they're acting. Members from both the Lords and the Commons are stepping in, not just to co-sign, but to push the initiative forward. That's when it hit me. This isn't symbolic anymore. It has teeth. Real constitutional teeth. They're invoking the titles. Deprivation Act of 1917, a law last used during World War I to strip royals of their titles for siding with enemy nations. And now? They're arguing Harry's betrayal might not be military treason, but it's damn well close in spirit. You can feel the temperature rising, like the country's fed up with watching someone trash the crown and cash in on its name at the same time. This isn't just a formal rebuke, it's a systematic dismantling of Harry's last real claim to aristocracy. What started as public anger is becoming political action, and once Parliament aligns with public sentiment like this, history tells us there's no turning back.
But Kinsey, you recently interviewed a friend of the royal family, Hugo Vickers, who revealed the late Queen was so fearful of Harry and Meghan that she wouldn't want to be alone with them. Let's just take...
There is no trust when it comes to Prince Harry, and the picture he tries to paint with Queen Elizabeth, even saying during that BBC interview that the Queen wanted him to have this level of security, we're finding out the truth, and it's that she bothered by them.
Now here's where things take a sharp turn. Harry didn't just leave the UK to live a quieter life. He got loud, too loud, especially on American soil. And I'm not talking about interviews or gossip, I'm talking politics. British royalty is supposed to remain neutral, but he's been out here slamming the First Amendment, aligning with partisan groups, and backing causes that go directly against the values of the institution that gave him his title in the first place. Lawmakers are calling it title laundering, using the prestige of royalty to legitimize political messaging in another country. That's not just bad optics. That's a constitutional problem. Royals don't dabble in American election cycles or hot-button cultural issues, and yet here he is doing exactly that while still parading around as the Duke of Sussex. And it's not just whispers anymore. British MPs are openly questioning, why is a foreign duke meddling in US politics? It's not just inappropriate, it's dangerous. Because if royal titles can be used to push ideology abroad, the whole system crumbles. Harry might have thought he was speaking freely, but Parliament heard it as a warning shot, and now they're firing back with laws, with history, and with fury.
Major breaking news out of London. Buckingham Palace announcing Harry and Meghan will no longer formally represent the Queen. That means they will no longer receive public funds and they will stop using their royal titles. Those changes will take effect this spring. So Katie Nicholl is now joining.
It's my pleasure. It's a big news story. As you can imagine over here, it really has, well, the phone hasn't stopped ringing, put it that way.
And in terms of your initial reaction to this latest news, that in fact it feels like it's a full removal in the sense of not just senior royal duties, but
if there's one consistent thread in Harry's post-royal life, it's his obsession with dragging the monarchy. From the bombshell Oprah interview to that Netflix docuseries, and then the memoir Spare, it's like he's made a career out of airing the family's darkest moments. And you know what? At first people were curious, they leaned in, but now even his sympathizers are starting to recoil. He's thrown everyone under the bus, his father, his brother, his stepmother, even the late Queen. That's not healing, that's scorched earth. And Parliament's finally saying what a lot of us have been thinking. You can't torch the house and still expect to keep the keys. It's become clear that Harry's using his title as a shield, something to keep the royal shine while hurling insults from the safety of Montecito. But that doesn't fly anymore. These public attacks have pushed him into what MPs are calling symbolic treason. Not illegal, but deeply offensive to the very institution his title represents. The monarchy stood silent for years, but this move from Parliament, this is them finally raising their voice.
A progressive new role within the royal family. While the royal family does modernise, I mean, the Queen sends tweets, it is an age-old institution, and I think that idea of tradition and everything we expect of the monarchy doesn't quite sit well with that idea of
what the monarchy means for the monarchy.
Well, people are talking about it being a constitutional crisis, and I'm not sure it is a constitutional crisis. I mean, through circumstance and the Cambridges having 3 children, Harry slipped down from being the spare to the heir to the 6th in line.
Let's be real, Harry's image in the UK is in freefall. The latest polls show 62% of Brits support stripping him of his title. And among conservative and older voters, that number jumps to over 70%. Even Labour supporters, who might typically be more sympathetic, say he's gone too far. And then there's the grassroots response. People in Sussex, his own dukedom, are signing the petition in droves. One pensioner said, "He doesn't represent us anymore, he represents himself." That quote stuck with me because it sums up everything. Harry might still be a celebrity in the States, but back home, people feel betrayed. Not because he left, but because he left and still profits off the name. You can't play both sides forever, and now even his supposed base has turned. Public opinion hasn't just shifted, it's collapsed. This isn't about one scandal. It's about the cumulative weight of years of grievances, interviews, and media tours. The British people are saying it loud. You left, you bashed us, and now we're done with you. Parliament isn't acting in a vacuum. They're reflecting a sentiment that's already roaring through the streets.
There has been a crisis in the Windsors, not least how the Sussexes chose to release this news, but also the narrative that we've had in the fallout that the couple were very unhappy, that apparently it was a very toxic environment, particularly for Meghan.
Brothers surrounding Prince Harry and Prince William, and what this change in senior roles for Harry and Meghan means for that particular relationship.
Well,
Here's where things get ugly. Harry and Meghan didn't just walk away from royal life, they monetized it, and heavily. Every deal they've signed, Netflix, Spotify, even children's books, has leaned on their royal branding. It's not Harry and Meghan, private citizens. It's the Duke and Duchess of Sussex splashed across press releases, opening credits, and podcast intros. That's not subtle, that's brand strategy, and the UK isn't having it. Critics are calling it title trafficking, using inherited prestige to sell stories, merch, and public image while pretending to be normal. Even their kids are being packaged with royal titles, and yet they talk about privacy and stepping back. The contradiction is loud, and people are listening. This wasn't a quiet exit, it was a business move, and now Parliament's stepping in to say, you want the money and the fame, then drop the royal mask. Because in the UK, titles aren't clickbait, they're supposed to mean something, and Harry's turned his into a marketing gimmick. That's not just embarrassing, it's offensive to everything the crown stands for. Now, here's where things get really strategic. While Parliament wages war, Buckingham Palace is eerily quiet. King Charles isn't rushing to defend or condemn, he's just watching, letting the process unfold. And insiders say he's very aware of the petition, but make no mistake, this silence isn't weakness, it's calculated. Charles doesn't want this to look like a father punishing his son. He wants this to be the institution, not the man, delivering the judgment. It's all about optics. If Parliament pulls the trigger, the crown's hands stay clean. As for Prince William, reports say he's done. No objections, no sympathy, no drama. He's apparently behind the scenes giving this petition a silent thumbs up, because to him, the title isn't just a name, it's a symbol, and Harry's use of it overseas is tarnishing everything the monarchy stands for. This isn't about personal relationships anymore. This is about protecting the brand of the crown, and the silence from the palace, that's louder than any press statement. Imagine this, Harry walks into a gala or charity event, and instead of hearing His Royal Highness the Duke of Sussex, it's just Mr. Harry Windsor. That's not just a title change, that's a brand collapse. If Parliament succeeds, Harry loses everything that ties him to royal status. The introductions, the prestige, the subtle power in every meeting, it's gone. And what's left? A man known more for his Netflix drama than his military service. Meghan's ventures, Harry's memoirs, their production deals, all of it is built on the illusion of royalty. Strip that away, and you've got two celebrities selling victimhood. Not duty, not legacy, just content. Hollywood is ruthless. Without that royal shine, their brand might dim fast. And Parliament knows that. This isn't just about honor, it's about cutting off the supply. The one thing that gives Harry international pull is that title, and Parliament's coming for it with every legal tool they've got. This isn't uncharted territory. In 1917, during World War I, King George V used the Titles Deprivation Act to strip titles from royals siding with enemy nations. If they could do it to dukes back then for moral disloyalty, they can do it now. And more recently, Prince Andrew, stripped of military titles and patronages after the Epstein scandal. No one is above the institution. The logic is simple. If Harry isn't acting in line with the crown's values, then he doesn't deserve the crown's titles. Parliamentarians are saying he's not with us, he's against us. And they're not wrong to ask, how can someone trash the monarchy, profit off the titles, and still be allowed to keep them? If history is a guide, Parliament has every right to finish what the monarchy started. This is where it all comes crashing down. This isn't exile, this is erasure, a methodical stripping of everything that connects Harry to the royal institution. Public support has vanished, legal precedent is on the books, Parliament is moving, and the royal family. They're not stopping it, they're letting the institution speak for them. Harry's transformation from the people's prince to a Netflix personality is almost complete. But if this petition succeeds, he won't even have that legacy to cling to. He'll be just another celebrity with a famous last name and a pile of controversies. What's so wild about all this is how it ends. Not with a bang, but with paperwork. Legal motions, parliamentary votes, quiet meetings in ancient halls that carry centuries of weight. And when that title is gone, so is the mystique, so is the privilege, so is the illusion. Prince Harry may soon find out the hard way. When you walk away from the crown, you don't get to wear its jewels. So here we are, after everything, after the interviews, the memoir, the documentaries, the public rants, the podcasts, the lawsuits, after all the noise, it might come down to this: a centuries-old institution quietly slamming the final door, shut on Prince Harry. And honestly, it's poetic, because he didn't just walk away from the royal family, he lit the bridge on fire and then tried to charge people for the ashes. And now, the very system he mocked, the tradition he dismissed, and the country he left behind are pushing back with the one thing that actually hurts him: legitimacy. Strip the title, and what's left? Not the heroic prince, not the decorated soldier, just Harry, an outsider, a brand without a crown. He spent the last few years trying to redefine himself as a global voice, a truth teller, a wounded soul. But in the process, he may have become something far worse: irrelevant. This petition isn't just paperwork, it's judgment, not just from Parliament, but from the very people he once claimed to speak for. And now, those people are speaking back, loudly. They're saying, "You don't represent us anymore." And perhaps for the first time in this whole saga, Harry doesn't get the last word. So as the House of Lords sharpens its blade and the royal family remains silently complicit, one thing's becoming painfully clear: the fairy tale is over, and whatever comes next won't be written with royal ink. It'll be etched in exile. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned, because if this title falls, the whole house of cards might come down with it.